The Strength in Asking, Redefining Power for Black Professionals. Good evening, everyone. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Dr. Chante Bass, whose groundbreaking work in empowering Black professionals has transformed countless lives and businesses across the country. Dr. Bass isn't just a thought leader, she's a revolutionary force dismantling generations of harmful narratives about strength and success in our communities. Her courage to challenge deeply entrenched beliefs about what power looks like has created a ripple effect that's touching lives from corporate boardrooms to community centers. Today, I'm honored to share the profound insights from our conversation in a way that I hope will challenge and inspire you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about true strength. We've all heard the saying that it takes strength to stand alone. It's practically embedded in our cultural DNA. The lone hero, the self made success story, the individual who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. These narratives are particularly potent in Black communities where resilience and independence have been necessary survival skills for generations. But what if I told you that the strongest among us aren't those who stand alone, but those who know when to reach out? What if true power isn't found in isolation, but in connection? What if everything we've been taught about strength is fundamentally incomplete? This is the revolutionary insight that emerged from my conversation with Dr. Bass. The journey to professional and entrepreneurial success for Black professionals often requires not just resilience, but a willingness to ask for help and embrace vulnerability as a strength. Many believe that standing alone or doing it all yourself is the only way to prove your worth. But true empowerment comes from knowing when to seek support and building community around your vision. Let's pause for a moment and consider why this matters so deeply. For many high achieving Black professionals, particularly women between 38 and 55, there's been an unspoken expectation to be the rock for everyone else. They've led teams, raised families, held down households, carried communities. But at what cost? The strong Black woman or strong Black professional narrative has created a generation of leaders who are exhausted from constantly grinding without grounding themselves in community and support. This isn't just unhealthy, it's unsustainable. And it's robbing our communities of the full, vibrant contributions these leaders could make if they weren't constantly operating from a place of depletion. Dr. Bass's work challenges this narrative head on. She suggests that the strength is multifaceted. It's not just about being able to stand alone, it's also about being smart enough to know when you need help and brave enough to ask for it. Consider the story of Dr. Chante Meadows, a mental health therapist and owner of Meadows Counseling Group. As a Black woman therapist, Dr. Meadows faced the dual challenge of navigating entrepreneurship while addressing the stigma around mental health within her community. The traditional approach might have been to put on a brave face, to project unwavering confidence, to never let them see you sweat. Instead, Dr. Meadows took a different path. She built her counseling practice focused on culturally competent care, becoming an outspoken advocate through speaking engagements and leveraging faith as part of her leadership approach. But here's what's truly remarkable: she openly modeled vulnerability herself. There was a pivotal moment in her journey when her practice was struggling financially. The conventional wisdom would have been to hide this struggle to maintain the appearance of perfect success. Instead, she reached out to her network, shared her challenges honestly, and asked for support. The response was overwhelming, not just financial backing, but emotional support, strategic partnerships, and client referrals that transformed her business. By acknowledging her own need for support and community, she helped normalize seeking therapy among local professionals and business owners. Her willingness to be vulnerable became her greatest strength, allowing her to connect more authentically with clients who were themselves struggling to ask for help. The result? Growth into a respected thought leader with a thriving practice, serving diverse clients, and increased awareness of mental health issues among Black professionals locally. Dr. Meadows recognized unmet needs in her community regarding mental health access, especially among people who look like her, and decided she would be the solution rather than waiting for one. This is what happens when we redefine strength. This is what becomes possible when we understand that asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Let's look at another powerful example. Kesha Shant, an award winning entertainer turned motivational speaker and advocate, faced enormous public scrutiny while navigating depression and anxiety as a young Black celebrity entering new roles beyond music. The pressure to maintain a perfect image, to never show cracks in the facade, was immense. But rather than suffering in silence, Keisha made the courageous choice to publicly share her struggles at major events like We Day before thousands of youths. She used platforms such as Entertainment Tonight Canada and her role as a judge panelist on The World's Best to promote mental wellness messages. There was a moment during a live television broadcast when Keisha was expected to maintain her polished, perfect persona. Instead, she spoke candidly about her own therapy journey, about the moments when she felt overwhelmed, about the importance of reaching out for professional support. The producers were stunned. The audience was captivated, and the response from viewers was immediate. Thousands of messages from people who felt seen, understood, and finally given permission to seek the help they needed. After early fame brought both accolades and pressure, Keisha pivoted toward advocacy work after experiencing firsthand what happens when high achievers don't prioritize their own well being. As the youngest Juno Award winner with multiple hosting and judging gigs across North America, she could have maintained the illusion of effortless success. Instead, she chose authenticity. The impact? She inspired other young professionals and artists facing similar challenges by showing that vulnerability doesn't diminish success, it enhances relatability. She broadened conversations around mental health within entertainment and media sectors, creating space for others to seek help without shame. This brings us to another key insight from my conversation with Dr. Bass. Your story has power. Sharing personal experiences can be healing not only for yourself, but also for others who may be struggling in silence. When we hide our challenges, we inadvertently reinforce the harmful narrative that success means never struggling, never needing support, never asking for help. But when leaders like Kesha Shant and Dr. Meadows share their journeys, complete with obstacles, setbacks, and moments of vulnerability, they create permission for others to do the same. They transform what might have been isolated struggles into opportunities for collective healing and growth. Let's consider one more example that beautifully illustrates this principle. Shant Blackwell, principal at Perkerson Elementary School in Atlanta Public Schools, faces the immense challenge of leading educational excellence initiatives amid systemic inequities impacting predominantly minority student populations. Rather than attempting to solve these complex problems alone, Principal Blackwell leveraged deep instructional knowledge plus positive school climate building skills gained through years across teaching and administrative roles to champion holistic student and staff growth strategies. She began her career teaching before progressing into various leadership and support specialist positions where she learned firsthand the value of asking colleagues and community members for input and help, a philosophy now central at Perkerson Elementary School. When faced with persistently low reading scores among third grade students, Principal Blackwell could have implemented top down mandates or shouldered the burden of developing new curriculum herself. Instead, she convened a community council, bringing together teachers, parents, local library staff, and even students themselves. She openly acknowledged that she didn't have all the answers and invited collaborative problem solving. The result was a revolutionary reading program that incorporated culturally relevant texts, community storytelling sessions, and peer mentorship. Reading scores improved by 27% in the first year alone. But more importantly, the entire school community felt ownership of the solution, creating sustainable change rather than temporary improvement. Under Miss Blackwell's leadership, the school has seen improved achievement metrics and school culture recognized by peers and district officials alike. She was appointed principal based on a proven track record driving results and inclusion. But perhaps most importantly, by modeling collaborative leadership, she inspires other educators and leaders of color citywide. This brings us to our third key insight from Dr. Bass. Taking control of your destiny means embracing both independence and interdependence. Success in business and leadership isn't achieved in isolation, it thrives on collaboration, mentorship, and community. Think about that for a moment. We often frame independence and asking for help as opposites, as if you must choose one or the other. But what these stories show us is that the most effective leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most impactful change makers are those who understand when to stand firm in their vision and when to invite others to help bring that vision to life. This is particularly relevant for those in what we might call their soft girl era, a time when high achieving Black women are shifting from constantly grinding to finally grounding themselves in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. It's not about aesthetics or trends, it's about a spiritual, emotional, and mental recalibration. For too long, we've equated softness with weakness, especially in professional contexts. We've celebrated those who pushed through exhaustion, who sacrificed their well being for achievement, who never ask for help, no matter how heavy their burden becomes. But Dr. Bass's work reminds us that softness is not weakness, it's a radical act of self love. And knowing when to ask for help isn't failure, it's strategic wisdom. So I challenge you today. Examine where in your life you've been trying to stand alone when you could be standing together. Identify one area, just one, where asking for help might not only lighten your load, but actually improve your outcomes. Then take that brave step, reach out, ask for what you need. Remember that your vulnerability may be the permission slip someone else needs to embrace their own. Your willingness to seek support might create the template for a new kind of leadership in your organization. Your courage to admit when you don't have all the answers could spark the collaborative solutions your community desperately needs. The strongest among us aren't those who never need help. The strongest among us are those who know when to ask for it. And in that asking, we don't just find relief, we find revolution, a revolution of connection, a revolution of sustainable success, a revolution of authentic power. The world doesn't need more exhausted heroes. It needs more connected, collaborative, courageous leaders who understand that true strength lies not in isolation, but in the brave space between independence and interdependence. That space, that brave, vulnerable, powerful space, is where our greatest potential awaits. Will you meet us there?